Hello everyone, welcome back to IPv6 lab section. And now it's time to roll up our sleeves and witness some exciting experiment in action. So without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. In our previous lab, we have seen when you assign a IPv6 public IP address on instance level and you reach out to the internet. And this time, what we are going to do, our private IPv6 assignment will be there. However, to reach out to the internet, we are going to use a different piece of gear, which is going to be the load balancer. And we are going to use a standard public load balancer for our internet connectivity. So in this case, what we are going to do, the IPv6 public IP address which we have assigned on the instance level, I'm going to use another IP address, but this time that will be configured on the load balancer instance. To perform this lab, let's go to the virtual machine. And in this case, I was using the client one. Let me start this machine. Starting may take a couple of seconds. In between, what I'm going to do, I will go to the networking section, choose your interface, and from interface go to your IP configuration. And in this case, now what I'm going to do, previously we have allocated a public IP address to this instance, which I'm going to remove it. Let's uncheck this box and let's save it. I'm going to pause the recording, and once this is updated and my machine is started, we are going to build a load balance instance with a public IP address. Let's do a quick verification whether the v6 public IP address instance label has been removed or not. So I'll go to the client again, and we need to choose NIC, which is associated, IP configurations. And now we see there's no public IP address from IPv6 range, and that's exactly what is expected. We still have a private IP address here, and now it's time to build a load balancer, which is going to be the public in nature, and we are going to use a standard public load balancer. I'm going to have more session where we are going to talk about the load balancer in depth. For now, just see how we do create the load balancer. Go to the load balancer and you need to choose this one, create load balancer. This is going to be the group, and I want to name it LBV6, and SQ type is going to be the standard one, and this is going to be the public. Let's leave it to the regional. Let's do a front-end IP address. So front-end IP address, I mean, we are talking about the load balancer. So load balancer, basically you can bring inbound traffic, you can bring outbound. However, in this lab, we are just going to perform how to initiate the outbound traffic for internet. So we need to assign a front-end IP address, and I'm going to reuse the same IP address what we have assigned on the instance level. So add this front-end IP address. Let's give it a name as PIP-v6. And I'm going to use the same IP address. So last bit saw 36. Let's add it. It's time to create a pool. So every load balancer will have some sort of the pool associated with it, where it is going to pass traffic based on some hash value. So let's add, and in this case, we are just going to have one machine which is going to be the part of this pool. So pool v6 virtual network, and let's try to add it from IP address. This is going to be the only IP address what we have as of now, and resource type is going to this one. Let's try to save it. This is saved, and you can add the inbound rule from here and outbound rule from here as well. You can do it right away, or you can do it once these are created. So let's just first create the load balancer, and then we are going to add the outbound rule. Validation is passed. Great. And this is again going to be a quick deployment. Deployment is in progress. Now the load balancer is ready and you can go to the resource. And in resource, let's verify what we have. So front-end IP address we talked about, we have created a one instance label IP address, which is pip, which was earlier assigned on the NIC label. Now we moved that public IP address on load balancer. Backend pool, we created a pool here, which was pool v6, and I only have one machine, which is having a v6 IP address. And now you can have load balancing rule, and this is basically to attract how the traffic which is coming from outside, how it is going to be load balanced. Then you have an inbound NAT rule and outbound NAT rule. I'm going to talk about outbound rule and the reason behind we wanted to initiate some traffic from this VM to internet. So let's try to add a rule, and this is going to be the rule v6 out. Front-end IP address is going to be this one. The rest I'm going to leave to the default. You need to choose a backend pool where it is going to be applicable to. And then let's try to I'm going to use the default outbound ports. Deployment succeeded. It means now we have a rule and I should be good to go initiate some traffic from the VM. So before we do that, let's just see how it looked like earlier. So now we see there was only v4 IP address which was detected. And now when I'm going to refresh it, it is going to detect the v6 IP which is configured on the load balancer side. And that's exactly what we see. And this is expected behavior as well. You can do many things with the load balancer. However, it was not the intent for this lab. Let's verify whether there's a change in the routing table on VM. So there's a default route exists towards the internet. And same time you see there's a default routes for internet as well. So nothing changes on this front and you're still able to reach to internet. So that is what basically we wanted to do in this lab. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next section.